So safety culture is the environment where the attitudes, the behaviors, and perception of all workers, so not some, all workers, is reflected in the health and safety of the workplace. So what this means that is not a case of only one person has safety knowledge. Now, if it is only you, others will put you in trouble basically because of their attitude and all those things. But if it is more than one person, then you see that everybody now begins to modify their attitudes, how they show up. They begin to modify their behaviors. So they will see something that needs to be done that can cause an accident, and they will not say, oh, it's not my business. They will do something about it because they know that we have to maintain a safe environment for all, and it also affects our perception. And this is where the school safety toolkit comes in. The School Safety Toolkit is a document, it's a book that provides you with practical and actionable strategies for immediate implementation. It teaches you all that you need to know about school safety. How can you ensure that your environment is safe, your classroom is safe, your work environment in the school is safe, so that children in your care, harm does not come to them. So it covers key safety concerns, and it empowers schools to build a proactive safety culture. We do not want schools that it is only when something has happened, everybody is running all over the place. We want schools to be a place where systems are already in place, such that even if something were to go wrong, you are sure that your system can withstand the effect. But many times what we have is when a school trends on social media for the wrong thing, that's when everybody is running all around. It shouldn't be that. That's being reactive. But we have to be proactive. Okay? And so what does the School Safety Toolkit feature? Some of the key features of the School Safety Toolkit. The first is that it teaches you school safety components. So we walk you through certain important aspects of how to maintain a safe school. So there's practical explanation, and then we have infographics to really make it fun and easy for you to remember, and so that you know what to do regarding these different areas. We also have case studies and templates in this toolkit, because a case study helps you to put yourself within a context, and then you're able to see what could possibly go wrong, and you also work with the ideas to come up with solutions. What this means in real life is that if you find something like that happen in real life, or a semblance or about to, because you have walked through something like that before, you're better able to take action. And inside the toolkit, we also have templates, because we know that many times we don't want you to start from scratch to create anything. Some good examples exist, and you can use those good examples to recreate something to suit your own school's unique context. Now, I must emphasize that in safety, context is very important. You cannot just take something that is working in another school and just copy and paste directly into your own school. You must check that it fits what you currently operate. So imagine that your school is a bungalow, right? And then you go and copy what a 5-story school is doing. If you do that, there's going to be dissonance, because that's not your reality. Are there basic principles that everybody must have? Yes, but those principles now have to be adapted to suit your own unique context. And so that's what using the case studies and templates is going to help you, to make those decisions. And then last but not the least, the toolkit has supporting resource. So we have an accompanying document that has clickable links. So when you click on it, it will take you to a video or to a document. So for example, we've added the federal government's national school safety policy. We added minimum standards, because these are documents that all educators should know about, because they have these resources that can help you in the work that you do. Okay, so those are the features. So before I begin to talk to you about, so I selected one aspect because I know we don't have enough time. I selected one aspect to speak about, but confirm again to me that you are still with me. Yes, 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 or no, no, no. Let me know in the comments. Okay, all right, so I see the yeses. You are here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so there are many school safety components that I can teach you about, but I decided to pick the risk management process. And the reason I chose that is, if you never see me again in your life, if you never hear anything again about safety, I believe that if you know about the risk management process in your own little way, you will begin to do it. And that is really what is important to me at the end of the day. I want you to go to school and you're spotting hazards and you're saying, okay, we need to do something about this. Okay, something has to be done. Do you see? I want you to be empowered in that way. So the risk management process comprises 5 major buckets. The first is identify the risk factors. So what is a hazard? A hazard is anything with the potential to cause harm. And so that hazard puts you at risk. So when you look around your environment, what could potentially cause harm? And you identify, okay, this is a risk. So for example, you can see cables running along the paths where people are going to pass. So it's running along maybe the entryway or exit way. And you can see that, these cables are not placed flat on the floor. Nothing is holding it. If somebody is running, their leg can loop in and they are going to fall. That is you identifying the risk factor. It could also be that you were going home one day, and as you were leaving the school, as you were walking home, you saw that a part of the school fence is broken. You know that, and then you say, oh my God, if this is broken, it means somebody can slip through. The person can hide from security. They will not pass through the gate. They will pass through the broken fence. And if they come in, it means they can actually pick somebody else's child, or they can steal maybe somebody's property because nobody is observing at that point. So the first step in managing risk is you need to even identify what the source of the problem is. Then the second is, after identifying, you now need to go to the next step and say, who can be harmed by this identified risk and how? How? So if we use the example of the broken fence, who can be harmed? Well, children can be harmed because somebody can come and take someone else's child and run away. Teachers can be harmed in the sense that maybe this person is not planning to kidnap anybody, but he can see that the teacher is not paying attention and their phone is on the table, and they will just steal it and go and sell it to make some quick money. So you have to play different scenarios. Who can be harmed and how. When you begin to think like this, you will see that many things that we take for granted in our environment, they are issues. They are real issues. And that is why it's important for educators to know about this, because the more you are aware and other people in your environment are aware, the more we are going to plug the gaps in our environment, and the safer our environment will be for everyone concerned. I usually say that a safe school is not only about the safety of the child. Even you, the teacher, you deserve to be safe. You deserve to go home alive. You deserve to go home in good health. Nobody sends their child to school to die. You too, your spouse, your parents, your children do not want you to get missing or die because, you did not come back home the way you left, So now, after you have done that, so the next step is now to evaluate the risk. So when we're evaluating a risk, yes, we're basically saying, what is the probability of this risk happening, and what is the severity if it happens? So probability is how often can this happen? So kidnapping, how often does kidnap happen in this area that we live in? How often does kidnap happen in this country? How often does kidnap happen in this location where our school is located? That's in the community. Severity is, if peradventure this thing now actually happens, how bad can things be? Is it just maybe one person's finger is broken, or will somebody actually die? Or will 10 people die? Will 1,000 people die? Can you see severity? So that is how you're now evaluating to see, okay, so this is medium risk, this is low risk, and this is high risk. So let's use a plane crash as an example. Just imagine, it's not going to happen. Imagine that a plane crash happens in a school. So let's say the school is around the route through which the airports go, the planes rather fly to the airport. Something, the plane falls into the school, or it falls into somewhere else, but a part of the body of the plane reached the school. So tell me in the comments, what is the probability of something like that happening on a scale of 1 to 5, where 5 is very high and 1 is very low? What is the probability? Just educated guesses. Atife says 3. Yes, let me see who else wants to say something. Evelyn says 4. Princess says 4. Is that how planes fall from the sky? How often do plane crashes happen? So probability is like you're asking yourself, how often do plane crashes happen in my environment, in my state? When was the last time there was a plane crash? And you're like, So I'm in the US, so the last time there was a plane crash was like last month. But you are, depending on the country that you're in, right? What was the last time? So if maybe the last time it happened in your country was, say, this is 2025, maybe it was in 2023. So you can see that the probability of it happening in a school, for that matter, is low. But then, what is the severity? If a plane crash were to happen, just peradventure, it actually now happens, this once in a blue moon occurrence, it happens. On a scale of 1 to 5, what would be the severity of a plane crash in a school, on a school day? Teachers and students are in school, people are working, like it's middle of the day, work hours, so everybody's in the school. Princess didn't even allow me to give rating. She said 10. So we're supposed to rate on a scale of 1 to 5, but Princess has already given us 10. Like, it's severe. This is a severe issue. Exactly. It is severe. It is severe. But now, if we bring the both of them together to evaluate, and we set the probability 1 and the severity 10, we will see that if we combine both of them, that is going to be, we'll probably rate it and say low risk. Again, depending on the environment, right? So 1, 10, low risk. If maybe the probability of it happening on that scale of 1 to 5 is a 4, right? And then the severity is a 10, can you see that automatically this is a high risk situation? Can you see? So that's what we are doing here. So at the evaluating the risk, you are just checking and weighing, because when you now identify and categorize things into high risk, medium risk, and low risk. Okay, can you help me mute that person? There is some static somewhere. All right. So when you classify high risk, medium risk, and low risk as an educator, it now helps you know what are the things to prioritize. So if something is high risk, you know that you need to put control measures sharp, like right away. What can we do to reduce the possibility of this thing happening? And even if it happens, that our people will be safe, we're going to have less harm, okay? And then when you do that, so that's where recording your findings come in also. So you're recording, okay, this is what we have found out from our process and all of that, and then monitoring and review. Right? So you are putting structures in place, and then you now begin to monitor. So let's say for security, we put a security man, trained man at the gate. We have a gate, it is always locked. If anybody wants to come in, we need to check who they are first before they even come through the first barrier. When they come through the first barrier, they have to speak with the security. Security has to check that they are supposed to be there. And if they're supposed to be, then they get the next pass to go in. So not anybody can just walk in and all. So when you now monitor the security process, you're like, okay, this works fine. But if all you have is just a gate, there is no security personnel, you can see that anybody can slip in at any time. And imagine now that, let's say, it's just a gate, right? And then somebody knocks on the gate, any teacher can go and open the gate. Now, any teacher probably does not have the training of a security personnel, so they don't even know how to profile people. They probably don't know how to ask the right questions, and so they could cause harm, for the students. So what happens in the 5th stage is when you check and you say, okay, this is good, this is working, you continue to do it. But if you check and you see, these control measures that we have put is not working properly, what are you going to do? You're going to review, you come up with more. Tell me, is this interesting? Are you getting it? Does it sound simple enough, like you can actually get to doing this, sometime this week or in the coming months? Yes, no, tell me in the comments. I need to be sure that you are still with me and we are together. Thank you. I'm glad to serve you. Right, now another thing that we have in the toolkit is a template. So this is an example of a template, and I chose this template because it is related to what we just talked about. So anybody can create a simple table like this in your school, and when you identify what the hazards are, you determine who might be harmed, and then you ask yourself, so what are we doing to control this risk? Then what further action needs to be taken? Who? Because somebody has to be responsible. If we just, anything that is not assigned is not going to happen. because we usually say what gets scheduled gets done. So for example, I was supposed to be at this session. I put it on my calendar. Even though I knew I was going to be at a conference today, I knew that I could delegate certain things to people and I could make out time to be here. If it was not on my calendar, this will not happen. So same thing, when you assign things to people, things are going to get done. But if we just assume that so and so is doing it, so and so, nothing will happen. And then when is the action needed by? So let's say we saw that broken fence, we report, okay, we're going to do something. Okay, when will they fix it? We have to put a date so that we can hold ourselves accountable, and then we check, has this been done, yes or no? And then this template comes from the minimum standard for safe schools, and that's why we have put it as links in the supporting resource document so that you can click it and see other templates like this. I just want to arm you with tools so that you can, go do great things. Go do great things. And then, okay, so now let's do a little practice. Who is ready? We're going to have a case study, right? And we are almost at the end of this presentation. Yes. So little practice. So background. So Bright Future School is a primary school with over